Hey, vinyl community, it's Mazzy here, and Localbandography. Dave is always. It's weird though, the way I do this thing. Um, he's in North Carolina. Where are you? Like near? Where are you?
I'm in the bottoms in Charlotte.
Okay, okay. And I didn't show up. He wanted to get me out there for some Beatles shit piece of shit thing this weekend or whenever it was. And
Oh, yeah, I'll go by myself. It's no
I need
problem.
to come. I want to hang out with you guys, but
Oh,
we're
we're
gonna do
trouble.
a video here, and I came up with this thing. I don't know why I thought of you when I thought of this topic because it's because of the stuff you show. Um, it's strange records, and that could be anything, and so subjective. Strange to one person is strange to another. Could be the music, could be the cover. It's just and some of the stuff I think a couple of these aren't so strange, but just in the depending on the point of view in that moment, it's strange. So we're just going to keep going for about 35 minutes or so and see where it takes us. So I hardly drink beer anymore because I have an affliction, but I'm having a Guinness.
All
Um,
right.
so I know, sorry that I'm drinking alone here. I feel bad.
Oh, I had a beer, but I had to move
It's okay.
the
Yeah.
setup. So,
I just drink with Brian now, with Cosmic Vinyl. So he's my drinking
oh,
buddy.
do you have a purple fuzzy pillow as well?
I do not. I do not. I
Oh,
won't even
that's a
go
shame,
there.
man.
Uh, all right. Well, I'll put a link to Dave's channel here, Local Bandography. I mean, I've got learned more. I bought more new music last year from you than anyone else, and not that many, like 3 albums maybe, but things that are a little off the radar for most people. Imports, I think, all imports. Maybe one wasn't, but I just loved it. So it's great to.
Yeah, and for me, watching vinyl community videos, man, probably 50% of what I'm picking up is because I'm learning from someone else.
It's a money suck.
Oh, you got that right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, start and let's just see how it goes, and we'll alternate. And
All right, so the first record I have is very fitting for the times we're living in right now. But and this has got a very interesting cover and quite a different deal going on for this artist. So this is Omar Rodriguez Lopez, the guitarist from At the Drive-In and the Mars Volta. This is his album, the Omar Rodriguez Lopez Quintet, The Apocalypse Inside an Orange. Right, it's a double LP. This came out in 2007. So this is he's a guitarist, but this is more in the jazz vein of things. So very
hold a little
strange
close.
take.
I'm an old guy. Push it a little closer to the camera. I'm a little older guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
That's good. Yeah. I just wanted to see. Wow.
There's strange stuff going on, blowing up out of this guy's head. For sure, with the cover art. There's eels and shit coming out of there. So
is the music as wild as the cover?
It's pretty out there, but not too crazy. But
is it like Latin fusion-y in a way? No.
Well, Money Mark's on this, which is kind of odd, but no, it's more of his version of jazz per se. But not an easy one to find, as most of his solo stuff. It's not easy to find. But this is a great record. So this kind of combines a few different elements of music, which kind of makes it strange with it being him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it kind of sticks out from his discography.
Wow, I don't know that. Of course, I'll have to check it out. Now, when did that come out?
2007. This is probably on one of his own labels.
Private label, yeah. Don't know it. Okay. I'm starting out with the one I've showed and other things. It's a limited edition, which basically only made 1,000 of these in 1974. And it's a Beatle connection, of course, but it's the Residents' first album. And it's on Ralph Records, came out in 1974. So February, exactly 10 years after Meet the Beatles came out. The Residents they came from the Southwest or Texas or something, but they they were sort of an artist collective in San Francisco, and their music was pretty out there for the time, definitely for the time. And they had this whole scene of doing 8mm movies, and there was a collective of the Residents and Snake Finger and Tuxedo Moon on Ralph Records. And of course, at the time, right when I was working in a record store, and I bought this because we got some in on a consignment. So they pressed 1,000 of these, and I think
Oh wow.
it's one of my. I guess I just looked at my Discogs. I'm only halfway through loading my Discogs in, and it's selling now for about $600, anywhere from $400 to $600. I bought it for $3.99 there. I probably got it cheaper because I got it whatever we paid for it.
Yeah, isn't that the best part of the Discogs logging is you actually get to see what your collection is worth.
Yeah, you take the medium price usually. That's what I'm finding.
Right.
You know, if God.
Yeah, well, insurance takes the medium price. That's the reason I did it.
Yeah. And then I'm looking forward. I mean, not looking forward because I don't look forward, but someday if I don't sell my collection, my son gets it. If he doesn't know what the fuck it is, he knows. But this was, of course, there was cease and desist because of the Beatles. But I just love this. Paul McCrawfish, John Crawfish, George Crawfish, Ringo Starfish, and if you know their stuff, it's kind of electronic. Before it's just wild stuff, not commercial at all. Of course, later.
Now, did they have to change the cover at all or anything like that?
It just never came out in this format, I don't think, until. It's a good question. I don't know all the history about this. Yeah, this just says first pressing 1,000 discs, February '74, Ralph Records, San Francisco. So
yeah, I wonder if it was different when it was reissued or if it was reissued.
Yeah, probably not with this cover, at least not officially, or right. And just because I'm throwing this in, which is because it gives me always another reason to show the Butcher cover. Think about this coming out in 1966. What a fuck up! What a great concept. Robert Whitaker, the photographer, was really into surrealistic, like Salvador Dali and surrealistic art, and he had the Beatles do this. And when Capitol was, putting those extra records out, they put this in the cover, and the Beatles wanted this picture. And of course, it got pulled back as a controversy. They thought it was their anti-Vietnam War stance or whatever it is. Meat and babies, no blood though. So it's kind of tame, but it's
well, it's still disturbing.
For 1966.
And because it's the Beatles and their image, and then you have that going on with them.
I was 12 years old when this came out, and I saw pictures of it right away. But I kind of wish Capitol and the Beatles had the balls in 2016 to do a 50th anniversary with this cover. Yeah, that would have been great. Anyway. Okay, your turn.
All right, so another one from Omar Rodriguez Lopez. This is a really difficult record to find, Solar Gambling from 2009. And it's got some wild, strange artwork on this one as well.
You're showing the cooler stuff. I don't have no idea what these things are.
Yeah, that's the point of this, Mazzy. But yeah, this one, this is a fantastic record. D'Antoni Parks is on drums. If you don't know him, get to know him. He'd blow your mind. One of the sickest drummers alive. And the vocalist sings in Spanish, and she is amazing. Her last name's Rivera. This is some all-time shit right here.
Wow.
This one will set you back well over $100. Rare piece. Probably was limited pressing in 2009, but
now you always have the strangest stuff. So how do you get introduced to? Are they from stores or reading shit, or what's your introduction to these?
I just follow, just like with jazz, where you follow the artist. With the Jazz Messengers, you had like Lee Morgan,
right,
and then you go out and find Lee Morgan's records as a leader. Omar was in at the drive-in, and Mars Volta, and you go out and find his solo stuff.
Right.
Yeah, similar deal.
All right. I only have one more Beatle connection, just because this record there's a project by the name, there's a guy named Rutherford Wang. Is it Wang or Wong? Sorry. did an art project called We Buy White Albums. And he had an installation in New York. It's been in Sacramento. It's been around the country in the US. And what he does, he collects white albums with the numbers, and he makes these faux storefronts. It looks like a record store with a wall of records.
Oh yeah.
And when you go in there, all there is the white album, and he keeps them in number order. And they're the ones that have been written on for over the 50 years and ripped up and illustrated. Well, he did a limited edition, 800 copies of this in
wow.
2011, I believe, or 12. Maybe it was a couple years later. And what he did, he took 100 copies of the white album, digitized them, played them all simultaneously, started in the inner groove at 1, recorded all of them from beginning to end at the same time. So it starts out with Back in the USSR, and over the course of the 90 minutes of the recording, it gets out of phase and out of whack,
Right.
really surreal. And this is a result of that. So when you listen to this, it's 100 copies of the white album, because every recording will be slightly different speed. It's like weird ass shit, but
no doubt.
It's a cool cover, cool packaging. I think it was too obscure for them to even do a cease and desist. And unfortunately, my buddies saw the performance. It comes with this poster of some of the collection. These are all some of the copies of the white album he has. And some of their little notes to, kids or parents, and weird illustrations on them. And so this final copy is basically an overview of a bunch of the covers and everything. So it's, again, I love conceptual art and avant-garde stuff, and especially when they take it. And really, when you think about it, it's not so much unlike Revolution Number 9. I mean, I love that on this record. And I know at the time, 1968, people, listened to that, and on side 4, what the fuck is that for 8 minutes? But I think it's one of the coolest things on here. Not a song, but John and Yoko, and with the other Beatles, man, I love they had the balls to do that. So,
yeah.
All right.
Next up, another strange cover on this one. I know you said we could do, strange covers.
Hey, you know me, I always like to break the rules, lie, whatever you give me rules, I'm gonna go.
I don't have a whole lot of strange music, but I have a few coming up. But
well, so this is what's not strange to you is strange to me.
Yeah, this is Holdin. I think this is Holdin's 3rd album, if I'm not mistaken. This is on Oral Explorer. It's a French musician, guitarist, electronic artist. This is from recorded in 75 and 76, but that's a really bizarre, really bizarre cover. I don't even know what's going on there with the baby, but Richard Penhaus is.
We want to know. Yeah.
Is phenomenal on both, with electronics and on guitar. This one leans more on the electronic vein. But I learned about Holdin through Alex Motor 247, the VC, and so now I've been picking up a bunch of stuff. But this one I found at a convention from a great seller there who's got a lot of Beatles, Japanese presses and stuff like that. And then he has a bunch of prog and stuff like that.
Did you pick that up because of the cover, or did you know about it?
No, I was specifically going to that convention to look for Holdin stuff.
Wow.
And he just so happened to have that. And the cover's beat, but the record is fine. So I was happy to pick it up for a really good price. So.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm going next with Scott Walker's Tilt. Scott Walker in the 60s and 70s was a member of the Walker Brothers, and he's an American, went to the UK, got famous in the UK. Walker Brothers weren't really brothers. They were just, but he was the leader. He did this album in 1995, and it's avant-garde, out there, moody. When you listen to this, you really see how big of an influence he was for David Bowie. And
did he recently pass?
He passed last year. He died. This sounds a little like something like Black Star, Bowie's Black Star, that kind of moody voice. It's out there. It's depressing. This lyrics. I mean, it's not what you'd think of a pop star to be. I heard this like when it came out, but I never got it. over the years, and I've been wanting to get it. And of course, like everything else, once he dies, he kind of jump on. So I went to a local, and they had this one copy had gotten reissued a couple years ago, and but it's just out songs like Rosary, Bolivia, Face on Breast, Manhattan, Bouncer See Bouncer, The Cockfighter, Farmer in the City, bizarre cover and bizarre
Yeah,
record.
that's a great one. All right. Next up for me is one I just got from.
Hi.
Up.
What's going on?
How's it going?
I'm good. How about you?
Oh, great.
This
Raymond Fisher.
this is I didn't mean to interrupt you. The archivist
Yeah,
pops
sorry.
in because she reminded me recently of Wildman Fisher. I'll show this after that, but
Okay,
I don't want to. I lost your train of thought there. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
no problem. All right, so the next record is one I recently picked up from Mr. David Belson, who is Record Bug, former VC member. He's still active in the Facebook groups, and he's actually a dealer now. But this is a record that, and this is a very interesting record and very bizarre record. It's Robert Steely, and it's an electronic musician from Massachusetts. And this is instrumental and electronic music. And it's the private pressing on Beat. And this is from 75.
Wow.
And this is a very interesting record. And it's really cool to even have this because he basically, when he found out that Robert had passed, he was able to get in touch with his wife and found out that she had some of these records sealed still of this. I don't think there were very many of them.
Wow.
And so he's got the acetates. He's got a few copies of these, and I was able to get a copy from him. But it's very interesting. It starts off with a double bass track, and it's kind of avant classical. And then it goes into a magnetic tape loop track that's very abrasive, like overly abrasive. And then from there, it gets into a cello track with double bass, which is beautiful. And then again goes into a magnetic tape crazy loop thing. And then side two that's side one. And then side two is just this one magnetic tape piece.
Wow.
And it sounds like everything's kind of patched together, like almost like you're watching an avant French movie.
That kind of music,
like it would just take you through different scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a soundtrack thing with different segments.
Yeah, almost.
That drives people crazy sometimes because it seems like people want a certain mood either way. You know.
Yeah. But this is a strange record, but a fantastic one. Rewarding. It takes a few listens, but yeah.
Right.
Very cool.
Well, I'm going to show this because the archivist here, when we did one of the whack-a-moles, when her friend Zach was visiting, I forgot I hadn't pulled this record out, and she pulled it. Do you want to say anything about it?
No. Go
Well, Wildman Fisher, schizophrenic. He used to walk around LA, like at the Dodger games and in LA, and just like sing a cappella out loud on the fucking streets. A crazy wanker. And somehow he got introduced to Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa signs him or does this record on Bizarre Record with his management company. Double record. This is what, 1968. He did. His name is Larry Fisher. Larry Fisher. He died in 2011. He was institutionalized on and off over the years. He did some things. He got a resurgence in the 80s because he got signed to Rhino Records doing weird things like, my name is Larry, I have a name is Larry. I mean, I don't want to make fun of the afflicted, but I mean, we were talking about, what's the guy, Daniel Johnson? Daniel Johnston, he's nothing like that. But he's gone through the similar things. I think Daniel Johnson's more focused and writing things. But him and Zapp had a big falling out because I think he threw something and almost hit a moon unit and really hurt her. And so they had a falling out. But wild guy, he opened for some weird shows, I think maybe at the Fillmore, but I mean, he's as crazy as the album looks. And I'm not quite sure why I got this record, but I think because it's just so fucking out there.
Yeah, sometimes you have to, when that's the case, you have to pick it up.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you talk about bizarre records, the obvious one that we probably both could have done, which I resisted and didn't do, is a Trout Mask Replica. I don't know, maybe you have it there. Yeah.
I'll refer to Vinyl Richie's assessment of that album.
And I actually like it, but I bought that album when it came out and I returned it the next week. And then 10 years later when I worked in records.
So you share in that assessment.
Well, I like the
it grows on you after a long time. You don't play it very often.
Sometimes it's the concept. It's like Two Virgins or something. It's sometimes the concept, like conceptual art. I like the idea of it, and I fucking love when people get pissed off at things and they get angry about records. Like, how dare you like that? Well, fuck you. Anyway, that's my take on that. So I threw that in there even though I didn't show it.
All right, I'm gonna go.
All right.
Nice to see you.
Oh yeah. All right, so the next is going to be one from a vinyl community member, our own Michael P. Dawson. And that's Paleozoic.
Got it.
So
I love that.
That is a remarkably strange album cover, but fantastic.
He's really into insects and things, right? Or
yeah, this is one of my favorite album covers of all time, and I'm probably not going to give this record enough justice. If Rob, It Sounds Strange, did a review of this record in one of his videos that I would refer to, but fantastic musician. This is very proggy in places. It's got some elements of jazz to it, but
did you buy the two of them from him?
What's that?
Did you buy the two of them from him?
Yes, I did. When he was going through his deal, I reached out and was able to get them to help support. But that's a great record. Recorded, I think, 2017. So from one of our best vinyl community members.
You all out there, you should check that out. I assume he's still selling it. He was getting evicted from his place in Redwood City, California, just south of San Francisco. Yeah.
I think he was able to rectify the situation, though.
Yeah, you got a reprieve there. So, okay, my next one. It's not the weirdness is in the concepts of these albums, and this is going to country music. It's Porter Wagoner. Porter Wagoner. A lot of people might know him because he's the one that discovered really Dolly Parton, but he did a series of records in the late '60s that are about homelessness, alcoholism, all the bullshit of them. Now, this one's called Confessions of a Broken Man. He always played this character of the rummy sitting on the steps with nothing, and he had these weird artistic covers. And think about this is RCA Records, country records in the 60s, about getting fucked up and being the guy with the bottle on the stoop. But this one, if you look at this record closely, you might want to freeze frame it if whoever's watching this. He's walking in the door. He's got, it looks like his overnight bag. He sees this woman here and a guy here on the couch. Well, the song on this is called The Cold Hard Facts of Life, where he's singing about he's on this business trip and he's coming home, and on the way home, he wants to pick up a nice bottle for his wife because he's getting back, and he pulls into a parking lot of a liquor store, and he goes in there. He's in line to buy the booze, to buy the hooch, and he's standing. The guy's joking to the cashier saying, "Oh, I need a really good bottle. I'm hanging out with this woman tonight. Her husband's out of town." He gets in his car, drives off. Porter gets off, and the song drives off. Meanwhile, he's following this car, not on purpose. And just before he gets home, that other car pulls in his driveway. And then, madcap shit ensues, and he walks in. The Cold Hard Facts of Life, typical country song. So he's walking in on his wife with this other man, partying.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
maybe, have you shown that record before?
If I have at some point, but it's just a fucking great record. But
I think I remember that story somewhat.
Songs like Tragic Romance, Try Being Lonely, I'll Get Ahead Someday, I Just Can't Let You Say Goodbye, Shop Worn, $100 Funeral, If I Can Only Start Over, the first Mrs. Jones. Anyway, any of his records around that time, they're great country records in the classic sense, but they're all about, you know, just hitting the bottom. I mean, not that I'm laughing about that, especially.
I'm wondering if John has those records, digital gramophone.
1H John? Yeah, good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
All right. Okay, so the next is I have a lot of Sun Ra records.
Yes, you do.
A lot of his stuff can get strange and out there. This is probably the strangest as far as musically of his stuff that I have, and that's Sun Ra and his Solar Myth Orchestra, the Solar Myth Approach Volume 1. And it's got a really awesome cover.
Nice hat.
Oh yeah, and back cover as well. Oh yeah, he's in full Mazzy mode right there.
Yeah. Did you do the hat video? Did you do the hat tag?
No, I haven't. I'm sure I could. I have a million ball caps.
Yeah.
And I got some crazy stuff too, but I still need volume 2 of this, which actually is sitting on the wall at Noble Records. So when they reopen, I might grab it. But this is way out there. This one's a difficult listen. Very, very bizarre from Sun Ra on this one. And I'll team it up with this. This came out for Record Store Day recently. John Cage meets Sun Ra, the complete film. So this has got a 7-inch here with two sides.
I didn't pick that up, but I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the most fucked up thing I'm going to show in this video. And just because of John Cage, I mean, this is a live performance on Coney Island, like, you know, in the freak show booth, basically.
What year is that? Do you know?
This is like 86.
Oh, okay.
So they were both later on in their careers, way later on. But John Cage is just up there mumbling in just some language he created, and it makes no fucking sense at all. And it's annoying. It's annoying.
Yeah.
But Sun Ra has, you know, he has players there. He has June Tyson there, so it really is a very contrasting performance. And Sun Ra is fantastic. Like, he's got this mini moog up there or whatever. This was expensive. God, these are like almost $30 for a 7-inch with a DVD. But
who put
piece
that
of
out?
history? It's crazy.
Who put that out?
Modern Harmonic.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's Sundazed.
Yeah. Well, the estate has allowed Art Yard and Modern Harmonic to put out, you know, reissues of a lot of his stuff that hasn't seen the light of day.
That's Bob Irwin's. That's Bob Irwin's parallel company. He has Sundazed, all the reissues like Columbia, Sony stuff, and then the art avant-garde stuff. And I have one here actually on that label that I might get to in a minute.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, and they do just a fantastic job.
Right? Yeah. It's not cheap, but it's good. Before I get there, I'm going to do this just because a couple reasons. John Zorn record. What did I do? Naked City. First of all, you know, John Zorn. I mean, John Zorn's records his stuff could be squeaky, out there, bizarre, you know, fusion-y rock, jazz. He's been on so many records that I love, and I just love his. You know, he did stuff on Non-Such Records. I think it was originally on Non-Such or Elektra Records. This is Elektra, part of the We Electric group. What I love about it too is the cover photograph. Famous photographer known in the 40s and 50s by the name of Weegee, Weegee. And what Weegee did, and he was famous for taking photographs, almost like a paparazzi, but not really. He would show up at crime scenes, like mafia murders.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, if you start Googling Weegee photographs, you'll see like, this is a guy with a gunshot wound in his face. It's not a pretty picture, but all this stuff is like, you'll see guys in hats in the back of a paddy wagon. You'll see, you know, couples being shot, mafia guys in New York being things. But he would be one of those guys just would show up. If you ever saw the movie, what's that? movie about the 50s. Oh shit, I can't think of it. But in it, oh, I'll forget the name of it. Forget it. Anyway, I'm gonna ramble, and Mazzy's gonna forget it. You know, you lose your train of thought. But there was a guy based on Ouija who would be this photographing, you know, Hollywood celebrities and do the paparazzi things. And then in the movie version, he would like, you know, get payoffs because it's kind of like the old days with Rock Hudson. When Rock Hudson would go out in Hollywood, they'd hook him up with some woman so people didn't know that he was really gay, or Errol Flynn was screwing young boys, or whatever. The Hollywood was just as fucked up then, but everyone kept the secrets or they got paid off. The studios would have to pay the fixers and stuff. But anyway, I'm digressing on the whole thing. I just love this cover. It's, to me, that's a gorgeous cover. Violent as it is, it's just really great. I saw a show, I think at the Museum of Art in San Francisco 20 years ago, Ouija's photographs, and it's just really out there, all black and white stuff. But check it out.
Yeah, it reminds me of that record that Vinyl Rich just showed in his quarantine vinyl tag. It's a big black album. It's like when you take the record out of the cover, the artwork is the guy that blew his head off with a shotgun.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Holy crap.
I think we have about 5 minutes left. So.
All right, I got 2 more.
Okay.
So the next one is one I got as VCLT from Teddy at Eat Sleep Vinyl. Steppin' with the World Saxophone Quartet on Black Saint from 1979. And what's strange about this group is that it's just 4 horns. There's no bass, there's no drums, there's no piano, there's no any of that. It's just 4 saxophone players all at once going at it. It's
I think
intense.
Also, you showed that before, didn't you?
Yeah, I shown it when I got it from Teddy, but yeah, this is a different listen for sure. Strange.
It works.
Oh yeah, it works, but you know, it's not something you're used to, even if you're into jazz.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, but you've got Hamiet Blewett, Julius Hemphill, Oliver Lake, and David Murray. Great Flag Saint label. Let me see if I can quickly show the record here. It's got that really cool Black Saint label there. One of my favorites.
Cool.
That's that one.
All right.
Late 70s.
I'm going to show these two together just because they relate. Skip Spence, original drummer, only on the first album that Jefferson Airplane, but then he became one of the main members of and writers of Moby Grape. On Columbia, everyone knows Omaha and that great first Moby Grape album. But he did a solo album in 1972, I believe, 1 or 2, and called Or, and it's almost like demos, and it became popular in the last 20 years, mainly because it sounds like these indie do-it-yourself records at home. A lot of acoustic bass, weird shit. Another of the acid casualties that fried his brain. And when you listen to this record, it sounds like that, but it's really cool. It almost is very, I don't want to say topical now, but this is a Modern Harmonic reissue. What they did is
cool.
They reissued it on Record Store Day, but the original Columbia is pretty rare, and I don't have it anymore because it's one of those records I had and I never listened to it. Then it got a resurgence over the years. And there's all the outtakes and demo stuff, which the fucking main record sounds like a demo record, but it's so out there, it's cool. And then about, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was only on CD, but recently on vinyl, Modern Harmonic put out more Or. And what that is all these artists doing cover versions of this. So you have Robert Plant, Mark Lanigan, Alejandro Escovedo, the Durocs, Jay Farrar, the Ophilias, Flaming Lips, Skip Spence, Beck, Mudhoney, Robin Hitchcock, Tom Waits, Greg Dooley. So all these people doing these, it's really well recorded, and it's kind of a great companion piece, both on Modern Harmonic. And
that's That's cool. Mark Lanigan's one of my favorite vocalists.
Yeah, well, it's very folky, but also very out there. Of course, you know, Tom Waits is a perfect candidate to do his stuff, even make it more weirder than it is. When you hear this today, it doesn't really sound that weird. It sounds like a lot of these indie, you know, lo-fi, you know, freak folk type of bands and stuff. So,
All right, I just got one more, Mazzy.
okay.
All right, and I saved this for last because we just lost this gentleman to COVID-19. It's a huge loss in the jazz community, and that's Giuseppe Logan. This is a Giuseppe Logan Quartet on ESP disc. It has strange artwork on the cover. This is an original stereo pressing from '65. And you've got Milford Graves on drums, Don Pullen on piano, and Eddie Gomez on the bass. This is a fantastic record.
Great cover. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's from Philadelphia originally, and this is one of my favorite records. And this was sitting in the Discog section of Repo Records here in Charlotte for $10.
See, I wouldn't even know.
It goes for a lot more than $10.
Yeah. Someone's not doing their homework. All right, I'm going to close out with a companion piece, and I hope I don't offend people that this is a bad taste to put these two records together, because they're nothing alike. I'm going to show, I showed this, I did a feature on Raymond Scott. Raymond Scott was a band leader, innovator of electronic music soundtracks. He did commercial jingles. 1964 with the Gazelle Institute, which is Dr. Seuss, did these series of records in 1964 meant for people to lull their babies to sleep at different ages. It's very electronic, very moody. These have been reissued over the years.
I had a feeling you'd show that.
I did show it, and I did a Raymond Scott thing. Soothing sounds for babies. And the music isn't out there, but the reason I just think this is a great concept, and because I like, it's almost become this sort of meditative type of music, not so out there, but very electronic, early electronic, 1964. Didn't really sell as much, but there were 3 volumes for different age groups, like, you know, 1 to 6 months, 6 months to, you know, fucking baby-ish. But I thought I would join it with this, and this might be what people might, you know, write me letters. I'm going to put this on here, which is the back of Butthole Surfers, Abortion, Locust Abortion Technician, punk, psyche punk, country punk, cow punk.
I have that record.
It's just I just love the cover, right? I mean, it's worth it for the cover. So without further ado, I will showcase these two as my closing argument.
Oh, that's
record.
A great closer. The Butthole Surfers is tops.
Yeah, right?
That's killer.
You know, everyone's going to have different opinions. I would hope people write down what, like, some crazy stuff, some strange, weird records, musically covers. I mean, there's so many more you can go with, and obvious choices, but we tried to stray a little bit. But that was fun.
Oh, I feel stupid for not having that Butthole Surfers record here to show as well. I mean, I have that record.
Yeah,
that's a great choice.
Who knew? We didn't really. It's funny. Everyone I've done these so far, there's been at least 1 or 2 overlaps. We show the same things, and you never know if that happens or not. So it's so subjective. Yes. I think it's fun doing these. Anyway,
I haven't done one yet, so
this
is first.
I got 2 more lined up over the weekend. So it's fun to do, and maybe we'll come around again if we think of other topics. I'm always looking for things. So I'll put a link to your site, Localbandography, out of Charlotte or near Charlotte, in Charlotte.
In Charlotte.
You need to get down there once things ever settle out. Might be 10 years before things till no one's contaminated.
4 years.
Working?
I give the science. You got to give the science 4 years. I mean, it's takes 18 months to get a vaccine. Then you got to have trials where the trials actually work.
They're just going to start injecting monkeys and shit, you know. And
you just
working? Are you employed?
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm self-employed and there's no work, but I'm lucky in a lot of ways. But it's a shit show.
No, I've been very fortunate. I work for the largest construction company in North Carolina. So
and you're able to still build?
Yeah, well, we have all the state contracts for all the highways.
Yeah. Well, we have a shit show here. If anyone who's from the Seattle, or the West Seattle Bridge, which is a major link to West Seattle, they found all these cracks, and basically it can't be open up for at least 2 to 3 years. It's a major shit show. Luckily, it happened now, but now, of course, if they repair it, it'll only be fixed for 10 years. So they really
are they gonna demo and replace, or just fix?
Well, nobody, you know how it is. It takes forever to get, like when they redid the Bay Bridge, the other side of the Bay Bridge from San Francisco to Oakland, the second tier, it took them 25 years, or a good almost 25 years, to decide what they're going to fucking do. You know, you can't do anything these days. So anyway, we should, too much of the building and politics and infrastructure of America, which has fallen to shit. So, but that's part of the strangeness, right?
Yeah, well, we got a project with NASCAR at the airport, so
there you go.
That's still, believe me, that's still going ahead.
They could probably drive cars through the airport now; it wouldn't hit a soul. So
exactly,
empty. Well, thanks, Dave. Nice chatting, and this will be up tonight.
Oh, great! Everybody's looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Bill and John are itching.
Well, John said he was going to text you during this. I don't know if he actually did. So.
No, he did, and I'll tell you why. Because I told him we were recording it 9 p.m. your time.
Oh, but I said okay. I told him the real time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, got it. Okay, take care.
Peace.